The order had come down from the highest echelons of Obscura Prime, delivered through 7 layers of encryption and 5 different dead drops. 5 of the organization's elite assassins were summoned, each from a different species, each with a different specialty, all for one seemingly ordinary human target. Danny Park, inventory manager at Space Station Delta 9. This human possesses information that could destabilize galactic politics for the next 3 centuries, the mission brief stated. Termination must appear accidental. No traces. Maximum discretion. What the brief failed to mention was why a warehouse manager would have such sensitive information, or why he seemed completely unaware of his importance. But Obscura Prime never explained the why, only the who and how. That was how they had maintained their deadly efficiency for 18 galactic cycles. Carnix, a zealot whose translucent skin could bend light around his body, was the first to make contact. His race was renowned for their stealth capabilities, their fingers housing retractable bone blades sharp enough to slice through carbon-reinforced steel. He tracked Danny for 3 Earth days, noting his predictably boring routine: apartment to work, occasional grocery shopping, and back home. The human seemed utterly unremarkable. Average height, average build, with permanently disheveled black hair and a tendency to hum while walking. On the 4th evening, Carnix made his move. The human was taking a shortcut through a dimly lit alley, the perfect place for what Earth authorities would classify as a tragic mugging gone wrong. The assassin activated his camouflage, his skin cells refracting light until he was nearly invisible, and blocked Danny's path, flicking his bone blades out with a soft snick. "Oh!" Danny startled, stepping back. Then, instead of showing fear, his face relaxed into understanding. "I get it. You need money, right?" Carnix's 3rd eyelid blinked in confusion. Was this some kind of code? Perhaps the human was more aware than they thought. "Here," Danny continued, pulling out his wallet and extending it toward the space where Carnix stood. "Take it. There's about 80 credits in there and my transit pass. The ID you can toss. It's just a hassle to replace." The assassin froze, unsure how to proceed. This wasn't in the mission parameters. The human was supposed to be frightened, to struggle, making the killing justified and clean. "You know," Danny went on, seemingly unperturbed by the floating knife-like protrusions in front of him, "if you need money, there are some really good job placement centers I can recommend. I volunteer at one on weekends." He pulled a small holographic flyer from his pocket. "They've got programs for all species. No questions asked about past history." Carnix stared at the flyer, then at the wallet, then at the human's inexplicably kind face. This was unprecedented. In 300 years of contract killing, no target had ever offered him career advice. "You can keep the knife thing, by the way," Danny added. "I'm not judging. Times are tough all over the galaxy." From their surveillance position, half a kilometer away, the other 4 assassins watched through various enhanced viewing devices. Torv, a Kaldorian with skin like burnished copper and eyes that glowed from within, lowered his thermal binoculars. "What in the 7 hells is he doing?" he growled. "Just kill the human and be done with it." NYL, the sound manipulator, made no response. As a member of the nearly extinct whisper race, she never spoke, communicating only through subtle vibrations that others felt rather than heard. Her disapproval radiated from her in waves. In the alley, Carnix had still not moved. Danny checked his wrist device. "Look, I've got to go. I've got a pasta sauce simmering at home that'll burn if I don't stir it. But keep the flyer, okay? And the wallet. Maybe the job thing doesn't work out for you right now, but when you're ready." He smiled, edged past the invisible assassin, and continued walking, his pace unhurried, shoulders relaxed. Carnix stood motionless for 7 minutes and 13 seconds before deactivating his camouflage. He looked at the flyer in his hand, then at the wallet he hadn't taken. With a fluid motion, he retracted his bone blades and sub-vocalized to the team, "Target. Unsuitable for termination at this time. Reassessing approach." 3 kilometers above Earth's atmosphere, in the sleek command ship that served as their mobile headquarters, the mission coordinator slammed a tentacle against the console. "What do you mean, unsuitable? Your brief was clear. The human appears to be mentally atypical. Carnix replied calmly. Further observation required to determine most effective elimination strategy. It was a lie, and Carnix knew it. But something in the human's eyes, something genuine, something real, had reached past 3 centuries of conditioning. He would need time to understand what had happened. The coordinator hissed through needle-like teeth. Fine. Zayla will make contact tomorrow. But I expect results, Carnix. Prime doesn't take kindly to failure. On a bench in the station commons, Carnix unfolded the holographic flyer, watching as it projected images of various species engaged in respectable occupations. For the first time in his long life, the assassin found himself wondering what else he might be capable of doing. The following day, Zayla prepared for her approach. As a Florix, her plant-like physiology made her the perfect toxin specialist. She could secrete over 2,000 different compounds through her pores, each capable of causing effects ranging from mild disorientation to rapid cellular disintegration. Her chosen method was elegant. Pose as a food vendor, offer the human a free sample, and he would be dead before he reached his apartment, his system shut down by compounds undetectable by Earth's primitive medical technology. She set up a small cart outside Danny's workplace, displaying an array of colorful foods designed to appeal to human taste preferences. When he emerged at lunch break, she called out in a melodious voice, "Free samples, new fusion cuisine, Earth flavors with Centaurian spices." Danny approached, his face lighting up. "Oh wow, that looks amazing. I love trying new foods." Zayla presented a specially prepared dish, her fingertips discreetly releasing toxins into the sauce. "This is our specialty, Orion protein strips with earthen peppers." Danny's face fell slightly. "Oh, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned. I'm actually a pretty strict vegetarian." He looked genuinely apologetic. "Ethical reasons, you know? But those cookies look great. Are they plant-based?" Zayla blinked her leaf-like eyelids. The cookies were indeed plant-based, and importantly, she hadn't poisoned them, focusing her efforts on the main dish instead. "Yes, they're homemade, with local ingredients." "Perfect." Danny took one, biting into it with enthusiasm. These are incredible. Did you make these yourself?" Yes, Zayla replied, watching with growing confusion as the human consumed the harmless cookie. I almost died from food poisoning as a kid," Danny said conversationally, taking another cookie. "It was awful. Made me realize how powerful toxins can be, but also how they can heal in the right circumstances. I've read that some of the most potent medicines come from what would otherwise be deadly poisons." "Isn't that fascinating?" Zayla stared at him. As a toxin specialist, she had never considered her abilities in terms of healing. Her entire training had focused on the most efficient ways to end life, not preserve it. "I've never thought of it that way," she admitted, her normal professional detachment slipping. "Oh, totally. There's this researcher, Dr. Mahmood, who's doing amazing work with plant compounds that were previously thought to be just defensive toxins. Turns out they can selectively target cancer cells in humans. Nature is incredible, right?" Danny chatted for 15 more minutes, sharing stories about his work. Mostly boring inventory stuff, but someone's got to make sure the station has enough toilet paper. Asking Zayla about her business and generally behaving like someone having a pleasant conversation with a new acquaintance, not someone marked for death by the most feared assassination organization in the galaxy. When he finally left, taking a bag of cookies, "I insist on paying for these. They're too good." Zayla closed her food cart and sat heavily on a nearby bench. For the first time in her career, she had failed to poison a target. Not because of security measures or suspicion, but because of dietary preferences and genuine interest in conversation. The third assassin made contact that evening. Brune, a cybernetically enhanced humanoid, had modified his body over the decades to be the perfect killing machine. Beneath his synthetic skin lay reinforced bones, muscle amplifiers, and a nervous system that could process information 10 times faster than most organic beings. His approach was more direct. Danny was returning home when Brune staged an accident, appearing to slip on the station's walkway and falling hard, directly in the human's path. "Whoa, are you okay?" Danny rushed to help, kneeling beside the assassin. Brune had planned to grab the human, apply precise pressure to his carotid artery, and make the death appear to be a simple heart failure. Instead, he found himself being helped to his feet by his target. "I think something's wrong with my knee joint," Brune said, playing into his cover. "It's been sticking lately. Let me take a look. I used to help repair maintenance droids in my last job." Before Brune could object, Danny was examining his cybernetic knee with surprising expertise. "Ah, I see the problem. Your servos are running on outdated firmware. That model had a recall 2 years ago." Here, to Brune's astonishment, Danny pulled out a multi-tool and a small datapad. "I've got the patch right here. The company sent it to everyone, but I bet you missed a notification." "Huh? Hold still." 15 minutes later, Brune stood up, testing his knee joint. It moved more smoothly than it had in years. The human had not only identified a genuine issue, but had fixed it without once questioning why a regular person would have military-grade cybernetics. "Better?" Danny asked, smiling warmly. "Yes, much better. Thank you." The words felt strange in Brune's mouth. Gratitude was not an emotion frequently experienced by Obscura Prime operatives. "No problem at all. Hey, I'm making vegetable stew tonight if you want to join. I always make too much." "I have prior commitments," Brune managed, struggling to maintain his cover identity. "Sure, no worries. Maybe another time." Danny waved as he continued toward his apartment, leaving Brune standing in the corridor, the assassination command still unexecuted in his neural processor. Later that night, in a secluded maintenance room of the space station, Karnix, Zayla, and Brune met in person for the first time since the mission began. "We have a problem," Karnix stated, his translucent skin shimmering under the dim lights. "He fixed my knee," Brune said. "He talked to me about healing properties of toxins," Zayla added. They looked at each other, 3 killers from 3 different worlds, united by a bizarre predicament. None of them could bring themselves to kill Danny Park. "He's kind," Karnix finally said, the words sounding alien from his lips. "Genuinely kind," Zayla agreed. "Without agenda. I ran 78 different behavioral analysis algorithms on him," Brune stated. "He registers no deception, no manipulation patterns. He simply wishes to help." "This is unprecedented," Karnix said. "In 3 centuries, I have never failed to execute a contract." "Nor I," said Zayla. Brune nodded in agreement. "Obscura Prime will not accept failure," Karnix continued. "Torv and NYL will be instructed to proceed." "They'll kill him," Zayla said, her leaf-like appendages rustling with agitation. "Yes," Brune confirmed. "It is what we do." The 3 assassins stood in silence, each wrestling with something they had never encountered before, a moral dilemma. "I accessed his personal files while he was upgrading my systems," Brune finally said. "There was nothing. No classified information, no coded messages, no secret contacts. Just recipes, job applications for friends, and volunteer schedules." "Then why does Prime want him dead?" Zayla asked. "Perhaps," Karnix suggested slowly, "we should find out." The next morning, Danny reported to work, as usual, completely unaware that 3 of the 5 assassins sent to kill him were now secretly investigating why he had been targeted in the first place. Meanwhile, Torv and NYL prepared their approach. "The others have gone soft," Torv growled, his copper skin glinting as he assembled a compact energy weapon. "We won't make the same mistake." NYL made no response, but her silent presence conveyed agreement. As a whisper, she could generate sound waves beyond the hearing range of most species, creating vibrations that could rupture organs from the inside with no external marks. She was Obscura Prime's specialist for untraceable kills. Together, they devised what seemed like a foolproof plan: sabotage the station's elevator system to create a malfunction that would send Danny's elevator car plummeting 20 floors. No one would survive, and station accidents, while rare, did happen. They infiltrated the maintenance shafts in the early afternoon, Torv using his energy tools to carefully disable the safety protocols on Elevator C, the one Danny always took to reach the upper warehouse levels. "Strange," Torv muttered, examining the elevator's control system. Someone's been here recently. These maintenance logs were updated this morning. NYL tilted her head questioningly. It says, preventative maintenance conducted. Noticed elevator making strange sounds like it was breathing hard. Replaced worn cable guides and recalibrated emergency brakes. It's signed, Part D. The two assassins stared at each other. Their target had serviced the very elevator they planned to use for his demise just hours earlier, and he had described the mechanical issue as the elevator breathing hard. Who does that? Torv wondered aloud. Who anthropomorphizes machinery and then fixes it on their day off? Their plan now compromised, they were forced to improvise. Torv would accidentally encounter Danny in the elevator and, in the confined space, use a miniaturized energy weapon to stop his heart. NYL would remain nearby, ready to intervene if necessary. But when Torv entered the elevator and found Danny already inside, things once again didn't go according to plan. Oh, hey. There. Danny greeted him cheerfully. Going up. Yes. Torv replied curtly, positioning himself for the kill. The elevator began its ascent, but after only 2 floors, it shuddered to a halt. That's weird. Danny frowned. I just fixed this thing this morning. He pressed the emergency button, but nothing happened. The lights flickered, then stabilized at half power. They were trapped. Diagnostic test, Danny muttered, prying open a small panel. The system's running a diagnostic. Should only take about 20 minutes. He looked at Torv apologetically. Sorry about this. At least we're not stuck alone, right? Torv said nothing, his hand inside his jacket, wrapped around his weapon. This was perfect, even better than the original plan. A simple kill, and he could claim the human had died of natural causes during the elevator malfunction. You look a bit pale. Well, paler copper, I guess, Danny said, studying Torv's face. Are you claustrophobic? Here, sit down. Before Torv could object, Danny had guided him to sit on the elevator floor. Put your head between your knees. That's it. Deep breaths. I've got some water if you need it. Torv found himself being treated with kindness by the very person he had come to kill. It was disorienting. Also, have this, Danny continued, pulling something from his bag. I make these energy bars myself. They've got adaptogens that help with stress. Kind of a hobby of mine. Numbly, Torv accepted the offered bar. He had skipped breakfast, preparing for the mission, and found himself suddenly hungry. Without thinking, he took a bite. Good, right? Danny smiled. The secret is toasting the nuts before mixing them in. It was indeed delicious, perhaps the best thing Torv had eaten in decades of space travel. As he ate, Danny chattered about elevator mechanics, his volunteer work, and his dreams of opening a small cafe on the station someday. Not that inventory management isn't thrilling, he joked, but I think I'm better at connecting people than tracking cargo containers. By the time the elevator resumed operation 17 minutes later, Torv's weapon remained unfired in his pocket, and he found himself in possession of 3 more homemade energy bars for later. That evening, NYL decided to take matters into her own hands. The mission had dragged on for days, with no results. As the team's most efficient killer, she would end this tonight, using her sound manipulation to stop the human's heart while he slept. No interaction, no chance for his inexplicable charm to work on her. She slipped silently into his housing block, picking the simple lock on his apartment door with ease. But instead of finding a quiet, darkened living space, she encountered light, warmth, and the sound of multiple voices. Danny was hosting some kind of small gathering. And to her shock, seated around his living room were Karnix, Zayla, Brune, and Torv, all awkwardly holding drinks and small plates of food. Oh, you must be NYL, Danny exclaimed, spotting her in the doorway. Torv mentioned you might stop by. Come in. I'm just getting to know my new neighbors. NYL stood frozen, unable to comprehend the scene before her. All 4 of her fellow assassins were here, socializing with their target. NYL is a sound artist, Torv said quickly, providing her with cover. She doesn't speak, but she creates amazing audio experiences. That's incredible, Danny enthused. I've always been fascinated by sound art. Please, join us. I just made fresh cookies. Numbly, NYL entered the apartment, and took the only remaining seat, a comfortable armchair in the corner, from which she could observe the entire bizarre scenario. Carnix was examining a collection of Earth books on Danny's shelf. Zayla was explaining something about plant cultivation to the human, who listened with rapt attention. Brune appeared to be fixing a small kitchen appliance, while Torv simply sat, looking as confused as Weil felt. "So, you're all new to Delta 9? Danny was asking. The station can be a bit overwhelming at first, but it's really a great community once you get connected. That's why I thought a little get-together might be nice." Very thoughtful, Carnix managed, his normally icy demeanor noticeably thawed. "Oh, I almost forgot." Danny disappeared into the kitchen, returning with a simple cake adorned with a single candle. "I wasn't going to mention it, but it's actually my birthday today. Nothing big. I turned 32. Pretty ordinary, I know." He set the cake down, looking almost embarrassed. "I know it's silly to celebrate with people I've just met, but somehow this feels right. I don't have family on the station, so thanks for being here." He raised his glass. "To new friends, I'm so grateful you all came into my life this week. Everyone needs a purpose, and I hope you each find exactly what you're looking for." The 5 assassins raised their glasses in awkward unison, each wrestling, with thoughts no Obscura Prime operative had ever entertained before. Weil, from her corner, observed it all. The gentle music playing in the background, the warm lighting, the simple but heartfelt food prepared by the human's own hands. In her centuries of existence, she had infiltrated the highest security compounds, the most exclusive gatherings, the most heavily guarded palaces. But she had never, not once, experienced genuine hospitality without agenda. She watched as Danny brought out a game, something called Space Uno, and began teaching the others how to play, laughing at his own mistakes, celebrating when Zayla caught on quickly, encouraging Brune when he struggled with the concept. There was nothing here worth killing for. No secrets, no threat, no reason that justified ending this peculiar human's existence. If anything, the galaxy might be a darker place without him in it. The following morning, all 5 assassins gathered in their hidden communications room on the station, facing the holographic presence of their mission coordinator. "Report," the coordinator demanded, tentacles writhing impatiently. The 5 looked at each other, a silent communication passing between them. Finally, Carnix spoke. "The target has been neutralized as a threat." It wasn't technically a lie. Danny Park was indeed no threat to anyone. "Excellent," the coordinator hissed. "Method, multiple approaches," Brune interjected smoothly. "Untraceable. The human authorities will find nothing suspicious. Time of death. Last night," Zayla supplied. "During a social gathering to avoid suspicion. Body disposal. No traces remain," Torv stated firmly. The coordinator studied them, needle teeth clicking together in thought. "Very well. Return to base for debriefing and payment." The hologram flickered out, leaving the 5 assassins in silence. "We've just committed treason against Obscura Prime," Carnix said quietly. "They will discover our deception eventually. Then we have a choice to make," Brune replied. "Return and face execution, or—" A knock at the door interrupted them. Instantly alert, weapons half drawn, they watched as the door slid open to reveal Danny, holding a tray of steaming cups. "Hey neighbors, I brought coffee. Hope I'm not interrupting anything important." For a moment, no one moved. Then Weil, to everyone's surprise, stood and took a cup from the tray, nodding her thanks to the human. "Perfect timing," Zayla said, following Wil's lead. "We were just discussing our future plans." "Oh," Danny perked up, setting the tray down. "Are you all staying on the station?" "Our previous employment situation has become complicated," Carnix explained carefully. "I see." Danny nodded thoughtfully. "Actually, that reminds me. I brought something else for each of you." He pulled 5 envelopes from his jacket pocket. "I hope this isn't too forward, but after getting to know you all a bit yesterday, I had some ideas about your skills and where they might be valuable. These are just some suggestions for job openings I know about." He handed an envelope to each assassin. "Carnix, you have amazing attention to detail and stealth capabilities. I know the station's security training department is looking for a new instructor. And Zayla, your knowledge of biochemistry is incredible. There's a medical research lab on level 7 hiring specialists. One by one, he presented them with legitimate job opportunities that actually aligned with their skills, though repurposed for non-lethal applications. Brune, the tech repair shop needs someone with your expertise. Torv, the station's energy grid is expanding and they're recruiting installation specialists. And NYL, he smiled, the silent assassin. The Interplanetary Meditation Center is looking for a sound artist to create peaceful ambient experiences. Your understanding of audio frequencies would be perfect. The 5 Obscura Prime killers stared at their envelopes, then at Danny, then at each other. Why would you do this for us? Torv asked finally. You barely know us. Danny shrugged, his smile warm and genuine. Everyone deserves a chance to use their talents for something that brings them joy. You all seem a bit lost. Sometimes people just need a nudge in new direction. He checked his watch. Oops, gotta run. Inventory waits for no one. Think about it, okay? No pressure. After he left, the 5 assassins opened their envelopes. Inside each was not only job information, but a personal note highlighting specific qualities Danny had observed in them during their brief interactions, qualities that had nothing to do with their lethal capabilities. I've never had anyone see me as anything but a weapon, Brune said quietly. He sees potential in us, Zayla added. Not just what we are, but what we could be. Karnix held his envelope thoughtfully. 300 years I've lived, and I've never considered an alternative path. Torv looked at the others. So we're really doing this? Betraying Obscura Prime? For what? Normal jobs on a space station because some weird human is nice to us. Enwile placed her hand on Torv's arm and nodded once, decisively. It's not just that he's nice, Karnix said slowly. It's that he made me realize there might be a way to live that doesn't revolve around death. I think I would like to try that. Later that day, 5 resignation notices arrived simultaneously at Obscura Prime headquarters, throwing the organization into unprecedented chaos. An emergency council was convened, contingency plans activated, and a new team of assassins dispatched, this time to eliminate the 5 defectors along with their original target. But when the new team arrived at Space Station Delta 9, they found no trace of their quarry. All 6, 5 former assassins, and 1 warehouse manager, had disappeared completely, using the combined considerable skills of the Obscura operatives to vanish without trace. 3 months later, on a small agricultural colony 3 systems away, a peculiar cafe opened its doors. The Unlikely Friends, its sign proclaimed. The owner, a cheerful human named Danny, worked alongside 5 very different beings, each contributing their unique talents to the establishment. The silent sound artist created peaceful audio environments that made customers feel inexplicably safe and welcome. The plant specialist grew herbs and edible flowers that garnished the most extraordinarily flavorful and completely non-toxic foods in the sector. The tech expert maintained equipment that never seemed to break down. The energy specialist designed lighting that made everyone look their best. And the one with the strange refractive skin handled security with such subtlety that no one even realized there was security at all. The cafe became known throughout the quadrant as a place where weary travelers could find not just nourishment, but a sense of belonging. Rumors spread that those who arrived with darkness in their hearts often left with a strange desire to be better, to find their own purpose beyond what they had been trained or told to be. And if anyone recognized the 5 beings who worked alongside the human as formerly infamous assassins, they never mentioned it. Danny, for his part, never learned the truth about the 5 strangers who had entered his life during that one strange week on the space station. He simply knew he had found his purpose, bringing people together, helping them discover their better selves. He had a gift for seeing the potential good in others, even when they couldn't see it themselves. Meanwhile, Obscura Prime underwent a mysterious transformation. After the unprecedented defection and the subsequent failed attempt to recapture the defectors, something changed within the organization. Perhaps it was infiltration, Perhaps it was exhaustion, perhaps it was simply evolution, but within a year, the dreaded Assassination Guild had restructured itself into the Galactic Skills Orientation Center, providing career redirection for those with specialized backgrounds. Their first major client? A former warehouse manager who thought he might have a talent for vocational counseling. Sometimes, he wrote in his application, all it takes to change a life is treating someone like they already are the person they could be. When the 5 former assassins read the news, they shared a look of understanding. In the end, the most dangerous power in the universe wasn't the ability to kill. It was the ability to show genuine kindness in a galaxy that had forgotten what that looked like. As for Danny, he never quite understood why his 5 friends would sometimes look at him with expressions of wonder mixed with amusement. He simply continued doing what came naturally to him, seeing the best in everyone, fixing what was broken, and offering cookies to anyone who looked like they might need a little sweetness in their day.